Hello, this is Dustin Berg with ProAVSchool.com. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Crestron programming and specifically how to lay out the touch panel in Vision Tools Pro E. Basically, I'm going to be going over some ideas on how you could lay out your menus and your submenus and add some backgrounds and just kind of get things looking decent and operating in a way that works well for people. So I've got a panel started here. It's a TSW 750. And the first thing I'm going to show you is in Crestron's application market. I'm just going to jump over to Google Chrome here. You can search for this backgrounds pack. Now what this is, if you haven't seen it before, it used to be available other places on the website. Now it's on the application market. And basically you can download all these pretty cool looking backgrounds. I find that they give kind of a good starting point to any project. If you don't really have anywhere to start from, it's way better than having black or like a simple gradient or something. Now these only really work well on like a TSW series panel. If you try to put them on something that doesn't have that kind of horsepower, like an older style panel, it will try to dither the graphics and kind of makes the color transitions look a little weird. So anyways, you just add to cart and then you need to have an account on here, but it's a free download. So I've already downloaded this and I'm just going to apply it here. So here is my panel layout, and I'm going to do it at the project level. So every page I create is going to have this background. The first thing I'm going to do is check here under position and size and see that this is an 800 by 480 panel, so 800 pixels wide by 480 high. So what I'm going to do is use that to pick the proper graphic so that I'm not scaling the background on every single page. So under backgrounds here, number of backgrounds, I'm just going to put a 1 in here. And once I add the 1, then I can expand background 0. And I have to click on path and I can import it. This is my background pack. And I said already 800 by 480. The nice thing about Windows is it shows you kind of a thumbnail. So I'm just going to pick this dark one here. And fill type, I would set that on center. The reason I would say center is because if you pick the wrong resolution, like you pick one that's too small, you'll quickly see that it's going to look weird when you open a page, so that you can know that you're supposed to change it and get the right resolution. Basically, it just decreases the graphic load on the touch panel itself and gives you basically more memory and stuff to do other stuff. You don't have to worry about it as long as you pick the right resolution to start. So here I'm just going to right click and go new page. I call it main. And you see it shows that graphic that I had selected there. Now you can have a page level graphic as well, a page level background. If you don't define a page level background, then it will show the default. Like for example, if I go click on display background, it's showing that solid color, and I could change that to whatever I want. But I don't want to do that. I want to leave that off, and then I'll just see this. You can see the grid here is shown by default. You can just right click and go show grid. So this is the main page. Usually what I like to do is have a header and a footer. That seems to work quite well. So what I'll do with that, rather than drawing it onto the main page, I'll do these as subpages. So right click here and go new subpage. Header. Let's make it 80 high. And I think I'm not going to do a footer for this example, just because it adds complexity that we don't really need to talk about here. But here I've got this header. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, you have to take a subpage and drag it onto a page so it's actually displayed on this page. Think of subpages as possible things that could be on a page, but if they're not dragged on and shown in the list of items for a page, they are not displayed. So each subpage shown on a page has a join number. If the join number is 0, that means it's always shown. So that works perfect for headers because you always want it to be shown. So what I'm going to do in this header here, I just put it on there so we could see it kind of in context to the actual panel. I'm going to put a background of, let's try black and see what it looks like. Maybe I'll do gray, make it darker gray. And what I actually want to do is change this background alpha, that's the opacity, to like 190 or something, so it kind of shows through. I'm not sure that I love that. I want to see what black looks like again. I think I'm going to go with that for now. And then on this section here, I could have like context sensitive titles and stuff like that. I'm going to put a button for, I'll ignore the hard keys that are on this type of panel, and I'm just going to put like a shutdown button. I'm just going to call it shutdown. Actually, I'm going to do a different style of button now that I think about it. I am going to do it's called a tab button. I think it's a button list. Horizontal tab button. So what I'm going to do is go into tabs and give it, let's give it 4 tabs. Then you can change the properties of these. I'm going to change it, where is it here? It's under orientation. With it, all these different types of buttons have different controls and different properties. You kind of have to play with them to see what you're dealing with and what kind of things you can set on them. With these, I know I can pick like a tab top. Let's go accent. Center effects. I think it'll affect the 2 in the middle here. Tab top accent. Tab right accent. Now what I didn't show you in this panel, as I first set it up, I picked tab top accent. I didn't show you that I had picked a certain theme. I think I picked, it's probably someplace. CT Neo. So the type of buttons that you're going to see are a function of what the theme is. So if I was to change to a different theme, I'm not going to do it now because I don't really want to mess with that. But it'll change how the different types of buttons are displayed. Now, if you have a bunch of different themes, you're going to add a ton of memory, and it'll take longer to load your panel files. It will also take up a lot more space on your hard drive because it's saving every single theme. So your panel file, instead of like 15 megabytes, would be like 50 or 60 or 70. And it just kind of creates a lot of unnecessary space. In most projects, you're not going to be using multiple themes. So anyways, for this, I would use these tabs to basically be my general navigation buttons that are on every single page. So you could say video, tab 2 could be audio, tab 3 could be, say, lights, and tab 4 could be shutdown. Now you probably want to add an icon to these, so you can choose use style state, and video could be, I'm going to pick TV here. And the other thing I want to do is style media transport dark, audio. And you can see it takes a lot of time to set these up. So what some people have done that works pretty well, I haven't really ever gotten around to doing this, but kind of creating a panel file with all their graphic assets so that they can just kind of drag them into different projects and stuff. I do that to a point with some of my other projects. I'll copy them, but I don't have like one master file. I could see the benefit of doing that. Just looking for volume here. That's not the one that that's good enough for this demo. And for shutdown, I can use, there's a power button. Oops. Use style state. So style state is defined in the properties of the theme. So if you're using Crestron Studio, you can actually take a theme, copy it. That's the best way to do it. Copy it as kind of a new one, and use that as a starting point, and then just start modifying a couple things. Because there's a lot of properties and things that are tied together. And I haven't really spent any time working in Crestron Studio or developing themes. I just don't really have time to do it. But you certainly can do that. And I should also say the Smart Graphics course that Crestron offers is excellent at showing you all this different stuff. And when I went to take it earlier this year, they actually went through some GUI design theory and kind of talking more about what you want to achieve as far as user flow. And that's kind of something that I'm applying here, is having that top level where you only have to do one press to get to the next action, and you can get there from anywhere in the panel. It makes it a lot easier for users to navigate. So I'm going to give that the power button. So this is all pretty basic. I've just got the horizontal tab button here. With a smart object, you can name it. So I could call this main menu. This shows up in simple. And smart object ID, click auto assign. If you don't have a smart object ID, it will not show up in simple. So you definitely want to have that. And then what I typically do is I'll just run everything off the main page and just have a bunch of subpages. So since this header is, let's see, it's 80 high and our panel is 480, my content will be like 400 pixels high. So I'll just make a subpage of video, give it 800 wide, and actually let's go 700 wide, 400 high. I'll show you why I'm going to do that in a second. So once you have a subpage that's smaller, and I didn't really explain that when I did that on the other header, you can actually position it within the panel, and it can be positioned differently on each page. So if I had like a like admin page, for example, and I had the video window, I could put it in a different spot. That has purpose. It has application with different types of setups. In this example, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to do that. So the reason I made this smaller, I'm really having trouble with snapping to grid here. So I'm just going to turn that off. The reason I made it smaller is because I want to make a volume subpage as well. So I think I did it. Double checking here. So I have 100. It's called volume. 100 wide and 400 high. So in this example here, I've got it so I can have a volume control on all pages. I'll just quickly populate that with the gauge, liquid gauge vertical, and have a couple buttons. I'm going to change this button style to a round one, just because. I realize that graphically the round probably doesn't look the best in here, but just for the sake of time on this demo, I'll just do it this way. The other thing I'm going to do that's kind of, I guess I can't do it the way I thought. I was going to just put like a caret symbol for up and a V for down, just in the interest of time. That's obviously not the way you'd want to do it. You'd want to go into icon type and do style state and pick, I guess I could find it here, volume low. And as I said before, it definitely takes a lot of time messing around with this stuff. I often find it frustrating to achieve what I want to achieve because I just want to do the programming. I don't really want to work with the GUI too much, but the GUI is a thing that people are interacting with, and you really want to be able to take the time to do something that looks good. The other thing I'll do that's kind of a matter of preference is I'll design my GUI like 95% of the GUI before I even touch the code. That way I kind of know what I'm trying to achieve, rather than kind of not being sure what I'm even presenting to the user, so not knowing which control points I'm really needing to program in. So the other thing I'm going to do here, click on here, press Shift, click on here, and I'm going to align them left so they line up. So I would give this, I'm just going to auto assign an analog join, and I don't want this to be touch settable. The other thing I'm going to do is click assign an analog join. So I'll start at join 1 analog. Oh, I already used 1 analog, sorry. And it's not analog, it's digital. I'm not thinking straight here. Started on 10, 10 and 11. Close that. So you'll see here the object join numbers are shown. You can I think you can right click, you gotta go to display and not show the object join numbers if you don't want to see them. Save. It's a good idea to keep saving regularly. It will create an automatically saved backup. It's with the extension .asb. You have to rename it to .bpp if you ever want to use that file, if VT Pro E crashes for whatever reason, which does happen from time to time. So on the video page, I am going to, for simplicity, I'm going to use the video switching widget. Not because I enjoy it particularly, just because it's easy to program and easy to demonstrate it. You can just see it graphically. So let's just leave that there. There's a ton of changes, there's things you can do with this, and I've got another video where it shows you a different way to do video switching as well. Check it out on YouTube under ProAV School. But in this case, I'm just showing you this. You can change the names of the screens and the sources. Let's call it display left. Display right, so that just shows up there. Smart Object ID, you need to auto assign or pick an unused one. Close that out. And the only other thing, I'm not going to do all the other stuff right now. This kind of gives you the framework of how I would go about approaching a project like this. What you need to do next is the header and, well, just the header is always going to be shown. I probably wouldn't show the volume if the system is off. I would also probably have a subpage for system is off, please select from above to turn it on. I can possibly go into that in future videos if people are curious of how I would approach that. Just from a GUI design perspective, header I would keep as join 0 because it's always going to be shown. Video needs a visibility join, and let's just say 20. I usually try to keep my my feedback to drive subpages in the same grouping so that they show up in the same area under the object in simple windows. So I'm going to call this as 20, and let's call this one as 30. So the way this will work is if that signal number 20 going into the touch panel is not high, it will not show this video page, and it will not show the volume if 30 is not high. What you can do here is right click and click that visible. You see it's white instead of green, so you can selectively show just graphically how you want to see it. The other thing that's pretty cool, that is just in a newer version of VT Pro E. If you compile, and again, you have to compile the project if you want to import it into Simple. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to have access to those smart objects. This I find handy. You can toggle the output window or toggle the controls window if you need a bit more space. The other thing you can do navigation-wise, this is new, is Control minus will zoom out, Control plus zooms in. Now I found in this current version of VT Pro E, you can't actually resize this window bigger, so that makes it kind of a little bit less useful, but you can do some stuff. What you want to do here, this play button, click the drop down, go run as, and put that IP address of your processor and the IP ID of what the touch panel is. And this is what I'm doing is just a simulation of the touch panel. And all the logic is driven by the program, so you're not going to see any of these page flips, but just to show kind of how it would work. The other thing you can do, click faceplate, show faceplate. You actually have to close it and then you can run it again. So the cool thing about this is, first of all, you can test these buttons. Second of all, you can go, it doesn't actually show you here, but you can, copy window to clipboard, or Control C, which is the standard Windows copy. So you can copy that. I use this a lot for creating documentation. So for example here, if I open up Word, I do this a lot when I'm demoing projects. So then I can just Control V and paste it in. So you can, the reason this is cool is because remember how I showed you under here you can toggle selectively whether you're showing pop-ups? It's really a pain to recreate all the different ones that you want to see. So if you have your test program and your test panel, you can basically run it as an xpanel here, go through all the page flips, and easily take a screenshot of each. I'm just seeing here, I don't know if you can take a screenshot. Yeah, so even if you're holding a button, you can still do Control C and then Control V. So I find that super handy. And I always like to paste into Word because then you can, do a short description and save it as a PDF or like print it to a PDF driver so you can send to clients and stuff like that. The other thing you can do with this is, like I'm doing a screencast here, you could record a video of clicking and kind of demonstrating what the panel does. I find that works quite well. So I've gone through all I want to go through in this lesson. Please stay tuned to this YouTube channel for frequent updates of new Crestron programming and general audio-visual information. And please go to proavschool.com and sign up for the mailing list that we've got set up for Crestron programming and also for ProAV tips. I'm Dustin Berg with proavschool.com. Thanks.